So this video is for you if you're experiencing difficulties in a relationship right now. This could be a personal relationship or it could be a professional relationship. But there's something going on and you can't quite put your finger on it. Maybe you're becoming aware of going round in circles in this relationship. Maybe you're starting to see patterns, but you're not quite sure what's going on. It is possible that the other person is a narcissist, and this is why it's impossible for you to mend the relationship or turn it into a healthy one. Maybe somebody has already mentioned the word narcissist to you and you've dismissed it, or perhaps you're curious to know a little bit more. To help you get clear on what's going on, I am going to go through a checklist, in fact, 2 checklists with you. The first one is going to be about the behaviour you might be aware of in yourself. The second one is what the other person may be doing. And then thirdly, if this is resonating with you, I'm going to talk you through what you can do as your next step. So let's dive in. The following behaviours are typical of somebody who is at the receiving end of narcissistic abuse. So as I go through this, just mentally tick off what applies to you. And if you want to get a guide that has all of this written down, then just follow me, subscribe, and drop me a DM or a comment, and I will send you a link of how to get this free guide. So, first of all, are you constantly replaying conversations and second-guessing yourself, thinking that you must have said the wrong thing because of the way the conversation went? Do you feel that you are constantly walking on eggshells? Do you feel confused, or are you starting to question your memory of events, of things that were done or said by the other person? Do you find that you are the one who is always apologising, even though deep down you don't actually think that you did something wrong? Have you started to doubt your own judgments or even your own sanity? Do you feel drained, anxious, or emotionally exhausted after interactions with this person? Have you lost confidence in yourself, and do you feel like a shadow of your former self? Do you avoid certain topics in order to keep the peace? Do you feel like nothing you do is ever good enough for the other person? Do you have a tendency to blame yourself for any tension or any problems in the relationship? Are you struggling to reconcile the person you now have a relationship with compared to the person you believed they were when you first met? Because it's like night and day. This person you have now is nothing like that person that you first began this relationship with. Again, maybe a personal relationship, but can also be professional. Did you used to feel more joyful, more confident, more free and more sociable, but now you find that you are none of those things, or just a tiny bit of those things compared to what you once were? As I said at the beginning, these are all typical traits and behaviours of somebody who is in a toxic relationship with a narcissist. But listen to the following list, which is their behaviours in a checklist form, and see if you can start to make sense of this. It may be that it's not the case, because just isolated incidents of these behaviours on your part and their behaviours doesn't mean that it is a completely toxic relationship, and it doesn't mean that they are a narcissist. But if you are getting repeat patterns and these traits are frequent, then the chances are you are dealing with a narcissist. So at the end, as I said, I will share some tips as to what you can do next, because once you know, then you can make sure you use the right tools to help you deal with it and plan your next steps. Okay, I need you to brace yourself for this second part, because there is a long list of behaviours that are typical of a narcissist. And because I haven't got a great memory and I want to keep the flow going, I'm going to refer to my list. And once again, if you want to get a copy of this guide, this free guide, then connect with me, drop me a message, drop a comment, and I will send you the link so that you can have this as well. So, does the other person blame you for their mistakes or their bad moods? Do they put it all on you? Do they downplay your achievements, your feelings, or your ideas and minimize all of these? Do they react strongly, sometimes even violently, maybe verbally violently, or perhaps physically violently, to any form of criticism, no matter how gently you try and put it to them and how carefully you choose your words? Do they play the victim when you try and bring something up, but they somehow manage to turn the tables, and before long you are consoling them, reassuring them, because they have manipulated you into thinking that they are the one who is the victim? Do they constantly change the goalposts? Do you feel that you can never get anything right? They've said that they prefer something to be done a certain way, or for you to do something a certain way, and you do it like that, and then they change the criteria. They're constantly moving these goalposts, and you haven't got a chance of getting it to the back of the net. Have they ever encouraged you to share intimate details about yourself, something very personal? Might be about your mental health, it might be about something you did in your past. But then you find that this information is turned, twisted, and or used against you in some way in the future. Do they have a sense of entitlement and superiority, but they don't show it outside? They're not showy and they're not ostentatious, but behind closed doors they make it very clear in no uncertain terms to you that they expect to be treated a certain way. But if you bring that up to them, they will flatly deny it, because that's another trait, adding to this sense of confusion. But you are starting to see patterns that they have this sense of entitlement, although it's hidden. Following on from that, they twist your words very often, or they deny saying something, or suggest that you have remembered something wrong. This is gaslighting, and this is very typical of narcissists. Do they manage to make everything about them? Even if you are trying to express something that you're going through or feeling, they will find a way to turn the conversation so before you know it, you're back to talking about them. Do they express their anger or frustration indirectly by turning things round, by dressing something up as a joke, by being critical or sarcastic, and not being directly angry or targeting you, but that's exactly what is happening, but in this twisted, confusing way, so you don't actually see what is happening at first until you see those longer lasting patterns. Do they often sulk or give you the silent treatment. This is another way of controlling you, because over time you know what is going to trigger this sort of behaviour in them, so you will avoid doing or saying things that you know is triggering. Do you have some absolutely amazing times together, as long as you're doing exactly what they want? Do they create conflicts and tensions between you and another person or other people? This is called triangulation, and it's another way of them controlling the narrative, or them stirring things up to create confusion and create conflict, which looks as though it's happening away from them, and they are very hands-off in this. Do they get angry or sulk if you set a boundary or attempt to reinforce a boundary that doesn't suit them? Are they charming and charismatic to everybody else, but again behind closed doors are cold and critical, even cruel sometimes with you? Do they compare you unfavourably with others? Again, this might be direct or it might be indirect, by just saying something like, she's such good fun, or she's so good at doing these things, or she's really good at managing money, or she's always doing things, always busy, really working hard. And indirectly, that is implying that you are not any of those things. Do they have a way of explaining things away in a really convincing manner to other people, so that leaves you feeling that you can't talk to anybody else about the behaviour you are witnessing, because you know that people are not going to believe you, because they only see this super person who is charming and charismatic, funny, and everything else that other people find attractive, and they just won't believe that this person is abusive. Have you noticed that they lie really easily, and they lie frequently about small things, about big things, and they deny loads of stuff that you know to be true? And if you challenge them, they will boldly and convincingly tell you that you're wrong, and they are so convinced and convincing that actually you doubt yourself rather than them. If they've been unfaithful, and this frequently happens with narcissists, they don't usually wait for the end of the relationship to source more supply, but they will find a way, if this comes to light and if you challenge them, of making you feel responsible for their infidelity. And you may even be taken in by this narrative, at least for a time. Finally, but by no means least, none of these have been in a particular order, you will notice that if they are a narcissist, they don't have long-term, long-lasting previous relationships or friendships that are healthy or that were healthy. There is an absence of a solid friendship group that has been with them since childhood or teenager years, or since college, or whenever. That doesn't exist, because you are starting to see that they are incapable of having healthy, long-term relationships. Okay, so if you're starting to suspect that, yes, this other person is a narcissist or could be one, there are some things you can do as a next step. You can start journaling. This means taking notes about events, conversations, their behaviour, how you felt, and just observe, are you starting to see patterns? Are there things that you are writing down that resonate with the lists I just gave you? You can continue to build awareness. So you're already doing that by watching this and hopefully getting the guide that goes with this. Continue to build awareness. So you're already doing that by watching this video, but look on YouTube or Google for information on emotional abuse, toxic relationships, narcissists, covert narcissists, and continue to educate yourself until you get to a point where you are pretty certain that this is the situation that you're faced with, and then you can start reaching out to get help and tools as to how to deal with it, how to ideally get yourself out of this relationship. Talk to someone you trust. It's really important that you choose this person carefully. It could be a friend or an understanding family member. It could be a coach or a therapist, but it's really important to have a safe space where you can share and where you can get that validation and that support moving forwards. If you have reached the conclusion that this relationship is toxic, that this person is a narcissist, please, please, please know that it is not your fault. There is nothing you can do to fix this relationship or to turn it into a healthy one. But you owe it to yourself to get help and support that is going to enable you to move through this and beyond into a new chapter that allows you to blossom and bloom, to become empowered and to choose the life that you want, or choose the professional environment that allows you to thrive and soar. If you'd like to know more about my group coaching programs or my one-to-one therapy and coaching programs, then just get in touch in the comments, in a DM. I would love to hear from you. Until next time, take really good care. Bye for now.